Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm going to go over 7 apps that I like to use for teaching. These 7 apps can be used to indirectly or directly learn how to play the piano better, whether it's understanding the theory, building the mechanics, things like that. Now, as I progress through the video, the apps will become more complicated as I go along. So I'll start out with the apps that are very simple. In fact, so simple that children would be the ones that would use this the most. However, even my adults can benefit from it. In fact, the second one especially that I'll talk about, even my adults can start using that. All right, so this is a tile hop game. Very, very simple game. It's kind of a silly little game, but what it does is it teaches you to orient left and right. Okay, it teaches you, the pattern of a song. Now we're gonna do like a silly song here, but just to demonstrate. But my kids love this because there's a whole selection of different songs that you can do. And you can buy the whole version. I don't know how much it costs for my younger students, but get them to have that musical mind early is important to get them to really start to explore their musical side. All right, so here we go. Like I said, this is a very simple app. So you would just hold this down, and you're going left to right, and you're holding it, and as you're playing it, okay? And of course, I just messed up, but the point is that, see right there, you're gonna learn, okay, I'm gonna have to go left, I'm gonna have to go right, and it's teaching you to anticipate as you go along. So that's what I like about this app. This is called Tile Hop. The next one is I Mimic. It's based on the game Simon. I believe that was the game it was called. This is a pattern recognition game and a tone association game. So I'll go through this. Now, obviously, you can see it's a pretty simple game, but as I said, even my adults can benefit from that because we're trying to get those neurons to fire off more, those myelin sheets around the nerves to grow and things like that. So just doing things like that's going to start building those brain mechanisms early on. Okay, here's the first game that I look at as very practical for learning the piano itself. Instead of just patterns, instead of just musicality, we're now going to be learning how to actually play the piano a little bit better. Now, this is a very simple version. This doesn't have actual piano keys on it, but it'll be similar to, because you'd have to keep a certain speed and you're anticipating the notes as they come along. Now, what I like about this app is that it speeds up. Okay, so it gets harder and harder and challenges you more. Now, what it does is because it gets faster, it teaches you to modulate as you go along. So I'm having to constantly make minor adjustments to keep up with the speed. And this will be really important later on for my students who are learning songs that go from slow to fast. And as you go along, you can tell that I'm getting faster and faster, and eventually I'm gonna mess up. But this is something to challenge yourself with. All right, here's the next one called Magic Tiles 3. This is basically white tile, just a lot more meat to it, okay? So in Magic Tiles 3, they actually incorporate a song into the same thing that you're trying to do. And what I like about Magic Tiles 3 is that you can actually get real songs and play with them. This app I personally bought only because I'm a teacher. If you want to buy it, that's fine. I honestly don't remember how much I spent for it. But I do like this app because it teaches you not just what white tile does, but it teaches you about duration too. Now, this one does not speed up. So in a way, it keeps that consistency of what a song will, because obviously songs that you play wouldn't constantly speed up, because that wouldn't make sense, right? Now, of course, with certain songs, you'll want to use 2 hands for this. So you can see that some of these apps can be used for both kids and my adults. All right, so this next one, I think we're starting to get into more practical apps when it comes to learning the actual piano. So these 2 right here, we've learned, hey, we're gonna start simulating the piano, and then this next one is something a lot more practical with it. Okay, this one's called Yoki Piano. I don't recommend you buy it. One, because it's expensive if you try to buy the whole version. I don't recommend that. But what I do recommend is that if you play it, the great thing about it is you can unlock songs and earn gold points. And I recommend this even for my adults because I even use this. This isn't just a useful app, it's an enjoyable app to play. So here we go with the keyboard. All right, so we go through. Okay, so of course we're playing while we don't talk about Bruno. And I know that songs, everyone's loved that right now. And probably some of y'all are sick of it. But you can see it's using the actual piano. Now if I turn on my piano, it's the actual notes. So this is actually laying a foundation to play the song. So for example, right here, it's D sharp. So you're going, hear that, right? And then we got some Fs and then Gs, here we go. Right, so this is actually teaching how, so let's say someone really liked, let's go back here, let me quit. Let's say someone really liked Fur Elise. All right, so here we go. Fur Elise. Now this is the actual song, okay? The song starts in E. Fur Elise, just for your awareness, is written in A minor, and this E that it starts out with is entirely accurate, because if I played Fur Elise, it's the same exact notes. So as you can see, my apps, they get progressively more complicated and more challenging, but more useful. All right, here's the next one. Now this is the most important app that I've recommended to all my students. Every single one of my students, I don't care if my students are 3, I don't care if my students are in their 70s. I want everyone to use this app. This app is foundational for learning how to read sheet music. I know y'all have heard me say that like a broken record over and over and over. Now for my Android users, you won't have the same thing. I can help you get the other one set up. But this is called Notes Teacher. It is foundational because it's going to teach you how to read sheet music early on. It's fairly simple, but let me go to a more advanced level here. So looking at this, right? So you're having to try to read the sheet music, and this comes into play later when you get away from the type of sheet music that I might start you out with. But very important app. This is actually the only app, that I would practically mandate to my students buy this app. It's only $2. Buy it because you'll get a timer-free version that's going to be easier on people who are not used to reading sheet music. Please spend the $2 to get the timer-free version of it. I don't recommend buying any other app, but I do. Please buy that one, just $2, at least last time I checked. Okay, here's the most advanced app. Most of you have not seen this app yet, and this app is really only for maybe my older kids or maybe my adults, and that's it, because it's a lot more complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to go learn. All right, I'm going to leave off. Now we're going to go to air and G string right here. Now when you set it up, now this is a free app. You go sheet music, because fingering and following notes, it's too elementary. You want to challenge yourself. You want sheet music. Go ahead and start with right hand, that's fine, and just do normal. What I like about this is it incorporates you reading and playing now, because look, that's an E. Okay, and that's actually called a tie note, so that's why I'm not playing anything else. But it's going through, and then what I'll do is play this next note, right? Now at first you're like, well, how do I know which keys to hit here? The only reason I'm playing at this is just because I know how to read it, obviously. But if you go to settings, you'll go to settings. Actually, let's back out. Let's go to main menu. Let's see, free, learn, settings. Oh, here we go, settings. Click highlight keys. All these should be done. Okay, so make sure all of these are done. Okay, click close, and now we're gonna try playing. Okay, now watch the difference. Oh, by the way, this right here is on your iPad. If you can do it on your keyboard, like no kidding, you're playing the note and it recognizes it, that would be wonderful. But for some reason, this app gets very glitchy. In fact, let's try it out. Let's see if it cooperates with us today. See, I had to hit that E twice to get it to recognize, so you may have difficulties with it yourself. Well, surprisingly, that didn't mess up as much as I thought it was. In the studio, for some reason, it wasn't working. But if you can get it to work, that's actually even preferable. That would be better. All right, so let's click next. Let's do it on the iPad instead. So let's go. Now watch what happens. See, it highlights the notes. It's gonna start teaching you to associate the notes with the sheet music. Because I'm telling you, if I look at this app right here, the Piano Infinity, and this one, these are so essential for you to start reading sheet music eventually. As I've emphasized before to my students, if you go to something like this, I want my students to learn how to play stuff like this. I want my students to be able to look at this one day, not even having played it before, and start playing it. You know, like knowing that that's E and G, and that's E and G, C and E. I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful for you to be able to play sheet music and never have played it before but play it perfectly. That's the ultimate goal with these two apps, or these two apps right here. Okay, sorry for the long video, but I hope it was informative. I'm sorry for my videography. I still get used to making YouTube videos. I know it's all awkward and wonky with the video, but I appreciate your time, and I hope it was informative. Thank you very much.